everyone, and welcome to YarnGasm. I'm Kristen, and this is episode 172. If you are a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back, and if you are a new viewer, thanks so much for checking out my podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, spinning, and hand-dyeing yarn in Brooklyn, New York, where I live. So I'm so excited that you decided to spend a little bit of your time today chatting about all the crafty things and stuff that I've been working on. And I've got a show for you guys. So I guess I will just kind of dive right into what I've been up to, as I like to do every episode before I show you what I've been working on. This past weekend was the trunk show, the Plucky Knitter trunk show at Gauge Intention, one of my favorite yarn shops. It's actually a pop-up yarn shop in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, where I used to live. Now I live in Bushwick, Brooklyn. A little bit of a stretch. It takes about maybe 45 minutes by train, subway, to get there. It is a very cool yarn shop, even though they're only open on the weekend. Michelle curates such amazing hand dyers and fiber artists from around the US, and even, I'm not sure if she does international. She does Hedgehog Fibers. So yeah, she just has the best collection and definitely worth a trip down there if you happen to find yourself in New York City. But yes, this past weekend was the Plucky Knitter Trunk Show, and I met up with some really awesome podcasters. You might have heard of them. I met up with Jenny from the Tiny Paper Foxes podcast. I met up with Carlene from the Made with Carlenergy podcast. Nina from the Knitting Expat podcast, who's based in Bahrain, was actually in town today. She was actually in town over the weekend, so it was, I pretty much attribute I give her all the credit for getting everybody together at Gauge Intention, just to meet up and hang out and knit and have a really awesome time. It was also Mina, and then there was Tanya from the Knitting Spring podcast, and then I met Jackie and I met Denise. Hey guys, if you're watching, it was really, really awesome to meet you. We had the best time. There was a super long line to get in, because the Plucky Knitter is kind of a big deal, you guys. If you haven't heard of their yarn, it's really nice, and you should check it out. I will post a link in the show notes. But yeah, Dennis was actually driving me to the train when I saw that Tanya had posted something on Instagram, and I was like, oh, I wonder, I'm seeing her in a few minutes. Let's see what she's posted. And yeah, there was a line out the door, and I was looking at my phone, and I'm just like, oh my God. And then Dennis was like, what's going on? What's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. Just a huge line out the door. Gauge Intention is not even open yet. Doors open at 11. Everyone was lined up by 10:30 in the morning to get in. And sure enough, when I got there, Jenny from Tiny Paper Foxes was waiting outside with Jackie, and I was like, what's going on? Like, we're not even going in there yet. It's just a huge line. So anyway, when I got there, we all waited. We got in. We waited online maybe about not even 10 minutes. And it was crazy. There was just like this tiny squared off section with all the yarn and everything. And it was, guys, the struggle, it was real. People were just smushed into this tiny little blocked off area. And all of us, like, as soon as we got in, we just made a beeline to the back where they have all these little picnic tables where they usually have classes. And you can just hang out and knit with a group of friends and other knitters. And we were just kind of sitting back watching the whole crazy thing happen. And at some point, we all just, took turns just trying to get in and get a look at the yarn and maybe buy something. So I know I went in there and kind of, not that I regretted it, but it was just very, it was like we were all just kind of like crammed in there like sardines, trying to get to the cashmere, trying to get to so many pretty things. Anyway, I did come away with a little haul, which I will gladly share with you when I talk about what I treated myself to over this past week. But yeah, it was just really nice to just hang out with them, chat. We stayed there for maybe 2 hours, just, doing what knitters do, hang out, talking, knitting. And then around, I don't know, slowly but surely the crowd did die down, and you could actually get in there and get whatever was left and remaining of the Plucky Knitter yarn. So, but then around 2 o'clock, we all decided to head over to our next destination, which was Argyle Yarns in Park Slope, which is about a 40-minute train ride. It's actually Jenny's local yarn shop, and she was telling me about it. And when Mina contacted me about getting some people together, we were trying to figure out where, and I brought up Argyle, how I've never been there, but I wasn't sure if it was, good for groups, which apparently wasn't. But we decided, okay, we'll start off at Gage Intention and then do a little nitty field trip to Argyle. And yeah, we just all hopped on the subway, went over to Argyle, and oh my gosh, this store is so adorable. And they have a very nice selection. They even have Quince and Company, which I was very pleased to see. They had Patton's Croix, they had what else did they have? They had Madeline Tosh, they had Malabrigo, they had the usual stuff that you expect to see at a yarn shop, but just like the vibe that you get when you walk into the store. Everyone was very polite, kind, welcoming. They said hello, they were very helpful, but they also gave you your space. So that was very refreshing. So I will definitely be going back to Argyle, and I did come away with a little purchase from there too, which I'll share with you later. But yeah, it was just fun. And then afterwards, we all I don't know what it is about knitting events, but I always forget to eat. So by the end, I was just kind of like, I need sustenance now. So we all headed up to this place called Connecticut Muffin Company. I think it's like just the Connecticut muffin, I forget. But I had some really delicious soup, perfect soup weather, and we all just kind of hung outside and chatted some more, and then we parted ways. So it was a really, really nice day. So yeah, and what was I going to say? I need some water. Whew. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm drinking water. How crazy is that? I definitely do not get enough water during the week. I need to make it my goal to drink more water. Gotta stay hydrated. So, okay, I think I'll start off with what's off my needles, because I have a finished object, you guys. And if you follow me on Instagram, I was very proud of this. I was super psyched to finally be done with this. But you guys, I finished my quadri hat. This is the Quadri hat, a design by Michelle Wong, who is also the wonderful, lovely owner of Gage Intention. She designs for Brooklyn Tweed. She has her own design collection, and then she designed a hat for the Plucky Knitter. And as soon as she posted this pattern, I was like, I have to cast this on. And I had I was very start-stop with this project. I cast on using some other yarn. The first version that I cast on was using Jill Draper Make Stuff, in her Empire Mini base, which is a very high twist Rambouillet, 100% Rambouillet wool, which was knitting up very stiff, and I never finished it. I didn't frog it yet, but it's still on the needles, and I'm not too psyched about it. It was supposed to be for Dennis, and then I decided, the yarn is just not suitable for the actual project. So set that aside, got some O wool, their classic worsted, which is 100% wool, in the ash colorway, which is so lovely. And as soon as I cast this on, I was like, okay, this is gonna be for Dennis. And as I was knitting it, the more and more I fell in love with it, and I was like, okay, no, I have to keep this. This is totally gonna be mine. And knitting with it was night and day compared to the other yarn. It was just the hand was softer, it was more flexible, and I actually bought a pair of 16-inch, because when I was at Gage Intention, I asked Michelle about it. I said, what needle size do you recommend? Because right now I'm using DPNs. And she said, you have to use, just use a 16-inch US size 8. And I purchased those needles, and as soon as I switched needles, it was done. It practically knit itself. I remember I spent maybe like 2 weeks just picking it up here and there, because let's face it, knitting a hat with big DPNs is a little fiddly, just ever so slightly. But and I wasn't very excited to work on it because it was so fiddly. But as soon as I switched the needles, I was here and I finished the hat in, I would say, about 4 hours. Dennis and I just spent, I think it was all of Saturday it was all of Sunday. I'll talk more about this in Blather, but we spent the day researching a vacation because we really need a vacation. So we went into our bedroom and Dennis hopped on his computer and we were just kind of hanging out, and while he was doing all the research, and I was just sitting on the bed, because his desk is right in front of the bed, and I was hanging out on the bed, working on this, and before I knew it, it was done, and we had a vacation booked. So very productive day. And then of course the pom-pom. It needed a pom-pom, and I will be honest, I'm not very good at making pom-poms out of yarn. But then Maria from the Subway Knits podcast, my friend, I saw that she had knit a similar cabled hat, and added one of these really awesome fuzzy fluffy pom-poms to hers. I'm like, I should get one of those. And so yeah, I actually hopped on Amazon and looked up pom-pom, and this one came up. So they come in like many different colors actually, but the gray just spoke to me. And did I save the case for it? I did not, but the pom-pom is by Bernat. And yeah, it comes in a little box, and I think it was about maybe $7 or $8, and I ordered it Amazon Prime. It was here within 2 days, and I just popped it on, and I had myself a really snazzy hat. So let me try it on. Because it's so cozy. But yeah, and it has the perfect amount of slouch, by the way. And you know how much I love slouchy hats. But yeah, I am obsessed with everything that this hat is. It's just so freaking cozy, awesome, and it's got a big pom-pom. Yeah, so now I must put pom-poms on all the things, which you gotta do sometimes. Anyway, I'm waxing poetic about this hat, maybe because it's not a pair of socks. I don't know. It's just awesome. It's so awesome, you guys. And yeah, now I'm getting really excited. But yeah, that's all I have off the needles. And I guess I'll just move right into what's still on my needles. I was very monogamous this week with my stonecutter pullover. Another pattern by Michelle Wong. I'm on a Michelle Wong kick, guys. And this is the back portion of it, and the yarn is Quince & Co. in their Lark base and the Damson colorway. And I will say, this is a very intuitive knit. I would say the most involved part of this pattern is basically the cast on. The cast on in the first part of the A chart was very involved, and then the rest is very intuitive. And I'm already at the armhole shaping part, and it's pretty it's very slow going, but at the same time, I feel like I'm getting a lot done, which is really awesome because I'm excited about the pattern. It's holding my interest very well. It's definitely a challenge, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I'm not afraid of it, if that makes any sense, because I can't remember the last time I knit a pattern like this, especially of this magnitude in all cables. And yeah. So I'm very, very excited to just have it done. I want to wear it already, especially because we have a vacation coming up, which I'll talk more about in Blather. But yes, we have a vacation booked, and I want to be able to wear it. So now we're not going anyplace warm, and I will not be sitting on a beach anywhere. So that will give you a hint. But yeah, anyway. I digress. So, but yes, I am co-hosting a stonecutter knit along with Laura from the Fawn Knits podcast. She's also knitting one of these. So if you would like to knit one too, feel free to join our Ravelry groups. We both have respective Ravelry groups. I can never get this right. We both have Stonecutter Cal threads in our respective Ravelry groups. So the Fawn Knits podcast and YarnGasm podcast. So yeah. Feel free to double dip, join in whenever. We have a very loose deadline, January 1st. The whole idea is new year, new sweater. But yeah, again, it's a very loose deadline. If we see that people need more time, we will definitely push the deadline back. So yeah, so please feel free to double dip. We have lots of awesome prizes. Shamika, another friend of mine, contacted me, and she has generously donated some really awesome stitch markers. So yeah, the prize pile just keeps growing, which is awesome. So thank you, Shamika, for that. And again, Michelle Wong says, if you are joining in the knit along, feel free to ear burn her. for some help and tips when it comes to knitting this, and she's also she's also donating a prize to one of her patterns, Michelle Wong, her own line of patterns. And then if you are in the area in New York City, she's also offering the option instead to get a coupon at Gauge Intention, which is super generous of her. So thank you so much, Michelle. Yeah, so this is really fun. And again, if you want to triple dip, Kemper from the Junk Yarn podcast is having a cable along. So feel free to join in that as well. But yeah, so much fun. Again, I want to finish it so I can wear it. It's so cool. And I think that's all I wanted to say about this pattern. Yeah, again, slow going. I worked on it a little bit last night. I was watching I was watching the Stitched in Sweden podcast with Maria. So yeah, I was able to put a nice little dent in this last night. I actually knit too far and had a frog back. I was looking at the schematics and I was like, do I really have to? And I was like, yeah, I do. So I had a frog back like maybe 4 rows. But yeah, not bad at all. Really enjoying it, as I mentioned. And it's living in my Homespun House project bag, which I love. Let me see. Yeah, it's just a project bag of awesomeness. Huh. And the other thing that I'm working on is Dennis's socks. Dude doesn't get a hat, but he gets a pair of socks. I'm going to be knitting him a hat. I just haven't decided which pattern yet, but maybe another quadri. I don't know. But I'm thinking it's been a while since I don't think I've ever knit him a scarf or a cowl. So maybe I'm thinking maybe I'll knit him something like that. Yeah, anyway, it's still kind of TBD, but in the meantime, I'm knitting him a pair of socks, and this is out of Skane's Top Drawer Sock in the Savannah colorway, and he's loving the way this is knitting up. Every time I show it to him, he's like, that's so cool, and I was like, I know, it's so cool. So I don't know if you can see it, but they're just really subtle flecks of red in there, like right there, like little tiny pops, which I really love. Yeah, so love the way these are knitting up, and I'm actually knitting him a pair of I'm giving him a Fish Lips Kiss heel, which will be interesting to see his reaction to that, because I've never knit him a pair of Fish Lips Kiss heel socks before. So I'm really excited to see or hear how he likes it. Yeah, so I'm having fun with that. And that's pretty much all I've had time to work on this past week. I did not work on my Imogen tee or my Verdure shawl this week, even though it's staring me right in the face. It's, saying, knit me. And I'm like, I know, but sweater, I want to have that finished. And okay, I will have some work on, I will have put some more work into both those items by the next time I record. Hold me to it. But yes, that is pretty much all I've been working on. As far as spinning goes, I have been doing a little bit of spindling. I have a little tale of woe. My Snyder spindle, which I purchased at Rhinebeck, had a little whoopsie daisies. I was spinning on it and it dropped, because I'm notorious for dropping my drop spindles. And it dropped to the floor. Not too far though. It was maybe, I don't know, like a foot from the ground, and then the yarn was just very thin, and it just kind of pulled, and the spindle just dropped, and then one of the arms actually chipped off, which is really sad. So I contacted Scott Snyder, who made the spindle, on Ravelry. Told him how happy that I was to have met him at Rhinebeck, and I really enjoyed spinning with his spindle, but I told him about the mishap, and he ever so kindly said, just mail me the part back and I will replace it for you. So I am super excited that he's doing that for me. I don't know if he watches the podcast, but Scott, if you're watching, thank you so much. That was awesome. So I've mailed the part back, and he's just got to send me a new one. So yay. But yeah, my narwhal spindle. Yeah, I had an accident. But in the meantime, I've been spinning on my Turkish spindle, my other one, the Subterranean Woodworks. And I've been learning how to do the basket weave technique, because I love the more I spin on this, the more and more I love using a Turkish spindle. Just the way it looks. It just looks so pretty. Like the fiber looks so pretty on the spindle. So the way you do the best, like normally when you spin on a Turkish spindle, you go over 2, under 1, over 2, over 1. And that is totally an acceptable way to wind your yarn onto a Turkish spindle. But if you want this really cool, I don't know if you can see it, like woven look, it looks really cool when you do it with like multicolors or different colors. But the way you do it is you just take 2 arms and you go over about like maybe 5 or 6 times, and then you rotate it, and then just go back 1 arm and go over another 2 times around and around, and then you just keep doing that and doing that and doing that, and then you get this really cool crisscrossy basket weavy thing. And this is what it looks like on the bottom. So yeah. And the fiber that I'm using is something that's been languishing in my stash for quite some time. It's Ren and Ollie's Rolags, and I think Molly from a Homespun House has the same one. And there's some other fiber in here, but they're these really obvious mauve. Hello, just these really beautiful like ombre mauve, brown and gray, with pink glitter in there. Just Rolags, and they're just so soft and so pretty, and they're her sprinkles, bumps, and bats, and the colorway is latte, and it's Angelina, Merino, and Tussa silk, and 120 grams. I don't know what that is in ounces. I have to do math. But Ren and Ollie, she has an Etsy shop. Definitely check her out. Yeah, and I'm just having fun spinning on those. And I have it living in my, Tanya from Knitting Spring actually made this for me. It's just perfect for like a mini spindle project. Just a little project bag. Yeah, with butterflies, and yay, I love it. Thank you, Tanya. So yeah, and that's all I've been doing for spinning. My wheel, sadly, that's not getting any love this week. So sad. But yeah, one day, my spinning wheel mojo will come back, and that's all I will be doing. So I think that is it for, spinning. So I'm going to move on to treat yourself, because I do have a little haul to share with you. When I went to Gauge Intention, as I mentioned, there was the Plucky Knitter trunk show going on. And when I finally managed to get into the crowd, or make my way over to some of the yarn, I immediately fell in love with this colorway. This is yarn. And when I looked at the name, I squeed, because it's called Greenpoint. They created a colorway called Greenpoint, which, as I mentioned, is my old neighborhood that I used to live in. And they created a whole bunch of colorways for Brooklyn. They did, they just did Greenpoint, and they did Williamsburg. And Williamsburg is more of like a yellow green, but this green just really made my heart sing, and I had to get it. It spoke to me. And this is their Oxford 2.0 base, which is a 430 yards, 75% merino and 25% cashmere 2-ply. And it is so, so nice. I love it. So I have no idea what this is going to be, but I got 2 skeins. So maybe I'm thinking a cardigan with like 1/4-inch sleeves, or I don't know, maybe a shawl, maybe a Vita shawl, because Mina from the Knitting Expat podcast, she designed this gorgeous shawl. It's like a giant big hug of a shawl, and I tried it on, and I fell in love with it, so I kind of want to cast one of those on. I don't know, maybe it'll be maybe I'll knit that out of this, TBD. But then, as I mentioned, we also went to Argyle in Park Slope, Jenny's local yarn shop, and I know everybody has pretty much knit a pair of socks out of this yarn, and I saw it there, and I was like, you know what, sign me up. I got 2 skeins of Pat & Croy's, the blue striped rag colorway, and I think I'm just gonna knit another pair of socks for Janice with this. So yeah, it's a really fun colorway, and it's self-striping. So yeah, I'm really excited to have this in my stash. And yeah, that was pretty much it for my haul that day. But then during the week, I was actually watching Andre Sue Knits, which is another lovely podcast. If you haven't watched it, it's hosted by Andy. And I had talked to her earlier about, maybe doing a swap or something. She had some Rolags that she said that reminded her of me, and she would like to send them to me. And I was like, yes, let's do a swap. So I happened to be watching her podcast when her package arrived, which was totally weird. But oh my goodness, I am Andy. You do too much, really. But she sent me these beautiful Rolags. She's been playing around with her blending board, and you guys, I do not know what to say. These are just absolutely stunning. And Andy has my number. Andy really knows my aesthetic. It's just gray, mauve, and like really beautiful flecks of yellow sari and glitter, gold glitter. Andy, these are absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. And then she also sent me a whole bunch of other little goodies. A notebook, notebooks always come in handy, which I really love. And she sent me these beautiful mini skeins, which she hand dyed, and her packaging, again, just beautiful. These are really special, Andy. Thank you so much. And these are awesome. She sent me these llama. Just gonna be crinkling. I'm just putting it out there. Alpaca socks. I love these. These are so awesome. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Can't go wrong with alpaca socks. So there are those. And then she also got me one of these little tape measures, which, how adorable is that? It's a little snail. It's a little snail. It's so cute. Ah! Oh my gosh, tape measure is always handy. And then, as if that wasn't enough, she gave me this really awesome row counter, which, yeah, really cool. I love it. Ah, so cool. And then, she definitely, Andy, gargoyle stitch markers. Yeah, I'm obsessed with these already. I wanted to put them onto my my stonecutter pullover, but then I realized I don't have to use stitch markers anymore. And I was like, no, but I could probably just slip one of these on there just to have, so I know the right from the wrong side in case I'm having one of those days. And but these are so cool. I will post a link to her Etsy shop because she's got some really fun stuff in there. And Andy, I know you said that you were kind of moving away from doing Rolags, but yeah, no, you should keep doing them because they are beautiful. And if you haven't watched her podcast, she does a little demonstration of how she uses her blending board and uses a diz to, make little nests and, uses a stick to actually make Rolags. Just really, just such a well-produced, put-together podcast. I couldn't recommend it more. So yeah, that was really fun to get in the mail. I've still got to send out Andy's swap package. Things have been just crazy this week, but I'm putting together something special. So if you're watching, Andy, yes, you've got some stuff coming to you. But yeah, so that was really fun to get in the mail, as I mentioned. And so that's what I have to share with you as far as stash enhancements go. Let me see, what else? I guess I'm going to move on to Ask Away because we have some questions in there. Okay, so, by the way, an Ask Away is a thread in the YarnGasm Ravelry group where if you have a question that you would like me to answer on the podcast or just in general, just leave me a message there and I will be happy to answer it for you, if not on the podcast, I will answer you in the thread. But yeah, Sam Ash Williams, 94, wants to know, she says, hello, Kristen. I've been watching the podcast for years, ever since you were doing audio. And I was wondering, what gave you the motivation to start your podcast? Was there a podcast that inspired you? I love your podcast, and it was one of the ones that encouraged me to start one of my own. So first of all, congrats on starting your very own podcast. That's so exciting, and yay! But yes, what encouraged me to start recording? Well, yeah, I would definitely say other podcasts inspired me to start my own podcast. And the ones that I found very inspiring, as I mentioned last week, the Electric Sheep podcast hosted by Hoxton, which is no longer being recorded, which is sad, but was one of my all-time favorite podcasts. And then definitely I think Nitpicks was the very first podcast that I started listening to. And then there was the Knit More Girls, and then, goodness, there's so many now. But yeah, it was just, I love the idea of, just being able to talk about knitting and sharing what I've been working on, because I will be totally honest, I am not the best writer. I do have a blog, or I started blogging at first before I was podcasting, but writing actually takes a while for me. Because I'm very critical of the way I write. I'm never happy with like the first draft, so I'm constantly editing myself, and I just like the idea of being able to speak and chat, and like I'm having a conversation with a friend. I feel like I'm more colloquial that way, and so yeah, one day I had off from work, and I was like, you know what? I've got a microphone, I've got a computer, I've got some editing software. Let's give this a try. And yeah, it wasn't the smoothest. I will say that it wasn't. It didn't. I actually had a script that I followed, and I realized after I was recording that, or I listened back to myself, I sounded like a robot. So yeah, I have show notes, but I don't, read it like a script or anything. I just use it as a reference now. But yeah, so I would definitely say there were podcasts out there that really inspired me to start my own. And now I find that podcasters are inspiring each other. So I know when you watch this podcast, I mention a whole bunch of other podcasters because yeah, I enjoy their shows, and I find them just as inspiring. And I really love the way, or can you call it an evolution of podcasting? But yeah, I love what podcasting has turned the knitting world into, or what it's contributing to, or I just love the place of podcasts in the knitting community. It's definitely brought a lot of knitters together, a lot of fiber enthusiasts together, and just generating so much inspiration and encouraging people to try new things, new techniques. And I feel like I'm going off on a totally different tangent, but I hope that answers your question. But yes, I'm super excited to check out your podcast, and congrats again for just taking the plunge and picking up the microphone and hitting record. So it's always very intimidating, I know, but the more you do it, the easier it gets, and you will find your own groove and flow to the way and your own style to the way you record, because not all podcasts are the same. I will say that. So yes, moving along to the next question, and I'm sorry, my nose is super itchy. I have a lot of fluff flying around in the air. Obsidian78 says, hi Kristen, I want to learn how to sew. Can you give some tips on how to get started? Cool project recommendations for beginners. Must have supplies for beginners. I'm going to take some classes next year, but I want to start with small projects on my own until I can save up to take them. They are kind of pricey in the Houston area. Okay, so first of all, congrats for deciding to learn how to sew. You will have a blast, and it's definitely a very awesome skill to have. But for beginners, I would say start small. Start with a project bag, a notions pouch. There are so many tutorials. Not all of them are the best, aren't very well produced, but they are informative, they are helpful. YouTube tutorials on, just search. I don't have anyone in particular, but I will say Crafty Gemini is very awesome when it comes to tutorials. What is it? Missouri Star Quilting Company has a lot of tutorials on how to make zipper pouches. Definitely a sewing machine. Okay, I mean, you could hand sew it, but a sewing machine helps. I purchased my Janome. Not a huge investment, actually. It cost me maybe, I would say, $150. It does a straight stitch, zigzag stitch, very little variations of that. It doesn't have many bells and whistles at all, but it does what it needs to do, and or does what I need it to do. So if I'm sewing a dress or a project bag, all I need is that straight stitch and a little bit of leeway. If I need to shorten the stitch length or lengthen it, adjust the needle a little bit. Sewing machine is definitely worth having, an essential. I would definitely have zippers on hand, be it invisible zippers or regular zippers. Just have zippers in case you want to add them to things. I'm trying to think what else. obviously fabric shears. Have a designated pair of fabric shears. Do not use them to cut paper or anything else other than fabric. A good pair is a good place to start. Mine is actually over on my sewing table. But yes, I have a pair of fabric scissors that I got from IKEA. Not a huge investment. I use them. They still work like a charm. They were like $6. But yeah, if you can invest in a good pair, I think a really decent pair that will last you a long time is within like the $30 range, I would say. But feel free to just, if you're just dipping your toes, invest in a cheap pair, to just get, a feel for it. But I think once you feel more comfortable with sewing, you can graduate to a nice pair. And a rotary cutter is really good. I don't know if I have it over. Oh, I do. Okay. So these are my fabric scissors. They're huge. They're heavy. And it's by IKEA. I got, again, like $7. I use these for fabric only. So yes. And then rotary cutter. This is by Fiskars. I actually got this as part of a set. I have a fabric cutting mat. It came with a mat, and then it came with a ruler. So I have like this long, let me see if I can get it. So this is my, I use this in conjunction with the cutting mat. So you can get straight, perfectly measured fabric pieces when you're cutting them out. So yeah, it came in a set. I think it was like $30 or $50 or whatever. But definitely comes in handy. But essentially, I would just say fabric scissors and a sewing machine and a pin cushion and pins. Pins are a must. I know that was a very scattered answer, but those are the basics, I would say. And yes, again, YouTube. Just search tutorials on there because it is a wealth of information, and you can't go wrong. And they're free tutorials. There's no way to go wrong with that. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Good luck with the sewing. I would love to hear how it goes. Feel free to drop me a line in the Ravelry group. And, as always, I'm happy to help and answer questions. So, okay. Wow, that's a lot of talking. I'm going to move on to shop update. Tomorrow, I will be having a shop update at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday the 13th. Spooky. But yes, I will have, as you know, I introduced 2 new lines of yarn, 2 new bases into my shop. Many of you have requested some non-superwash bases, so you spoke, I listened. So now I have a new worsted base. This is called Toasty. It's a 4-ply non-superwash 100% wool base. And it is so squishy and so scrumptious, is my new favorite word for it. But yeah, it's just such a lovely base, and I'm thrilled to be dyeing on it. Granted, it doesn't, because it's non-superwash, it does not absorb color the same way superwash does. So with superwash yarns, it just drinks up the dye whenever you're in the dye pot. Whereas non-superwash, it's more muted, more soft, or it's definitely noticeably less vibrant. So in case you haven't guessed, this is Gashly Crumb. It turned out more mauve and less variegated than it usually does on my superwash bases, but you can kind of see there's like some blue flecks in there, some yellowy red flecks in there. There you go, some yellow. So yeah, it's just more muted, but yes, lovely base that will be available. I will have some Dirty on Purpose on Volca, and I will also have it on Toasty. So some colors, some dyes take to the non-superwash a little better than others. So yeah, I mean, you can tell this is Dirty on Purpose on Toasty, and here it is on Volca. So which is a merino nylon, superwash merino nylon cashmere blend. So yeah, that will be there. And then I also dyed it up on Gatsby, my new non-superwash silk blend. So it's 50% silk, 50% merino. Again, non-superwash. And it just, the dyes just stick to the yarn beautifully. It just has a nice sheen to it. Yeah, so that will be available. And have some Pandora on Volca. I will have some Enjoy the Silence on various bases. So here it is on Volca, and here it is on Gatsby. So yeah, it just definitely took very well. And let me see, here's one of a kind that I dyed up. I was just having fun in the dye pot, just some, like a really kind of green speckled olive and like little shocks of midnight blue, just really pretty. And these are just ties on here, they're not tangled or anything. And then I dyed up some Mexican hot chocolate on, here it is on Gatsby, and here it is on Toasty, so you can kind of see. Yeah, definitely not as dark and saturated as it is on my superwash bases, but lovely nonetheless. I almost want to knit a shawl out of this, just cast it on right now, but I have so much going on. So much on the needles right now that I have to get off, but I definitely want to knit. I'm super excited to knit with this. And here it is, here's Fairy Hair on Gatsby. So yeah, I still have more to dye today. There will be more in the shop tomorrow, other than those colorways. But I do have some project bags that I've been working on that will be available. Oops, that got caught on there. Sorry about that. Okay. So I will have, I am super excited about these, you guys. These are my holiday project bags. But yeah, this is larger than my smaller project bag. And wait till you see the inside of these guys. It is hilarious. Gingerbread man. So how perfect is that? Like gingerbread men and gingerbread houses. It's awesome. It's just awesome. So I have one with a minty green zipper and a handle. Here's the back. You can see. So fun. And then I have one with a pink zipper. And all of these will come with little tiny snowflake progress keepers. So one, and then on the inside, gingerbread men. And then this one I love. I'm making more today, but I'm keeping one for myself because I am in love with this. It just has like these metallic pine trees and deer, and then again, canvas bottom, boxed canvas bottom handle, and then on the inside, just more metallic snow. It is so cool. Yeah, so I'm really excited about these. These will be in the shop tomorrow, along with some others that I'm going to be putting together today. But yeah, otherwise, I think that is it for Shop Update. I just found out today, Michelle from Gauge Intention reached out to me. She wanted to know if I would be interested in doing another trunk show in December, and I said yes, so I will be there. I'm very excited to be doing another one there because I always have a blast. But yes, I will be having a trunk show Saturday, December 12th, and Sunday, December 13th. So if you're going to be in the area, need some last minute holiday knitting gifts, stop by. I'll be there, and I will of course look forward to meeting you. Yeah, so I will have my yarn. I will, yeah, you know the drill. So I cannot wait for that. So thank you again, Michelle, for having me back if you're watching. But yeah, otherwise, I am going to move on to blather. As I mentioned, Dennis and I have booked a vacation, and a very much needed vacation. I know over the summer, I kept saying how I just wanted to get on a plane and park my beach on a butt. Well, we did a lot of beaching over the summer, namely in Cape Cod, and it's actually been a while since we've been to Europe or any kind of like adventure vacation, if you will. I think the last time I was in Europe was maybe 6 years ago when we did a quick getaway to London. I think we spent maybe 3 full days there, and that was like all the time that we could get off, and we kind of wanted to do something exciting. But yeah, this time we figured, all right, Dennis has the days off, so let's do it. We'll bite the bullet and get ourselves a trip to Europe somewhere. So we did a lot of research, and found Germany came up, a couple of other places came up, but this one just kind of spoke to us. So we found a really awesome deal, and we are going to Italy. And it gets even crazier because we are going away for Christmas through up until New Year's. So yeah, we are getting away for the holidays, which I don't know, I'm kind of excited about. Yeah, because I don't know, I've never been away or celebrated the holidays abroad, so I'm very excited about that. And I've never been to Italy. Dennis has in college, and he had a blast, and he's just really excited to take me there and show me around. Granted, he didn't get to do all the things that he wanted to do while he was there. I think he was only there for a couple of days, but yeah. So we're spending about like a good week there, and I cannot be more excited. So while I'm learning German, apparently now I have to learn Italian. So this is going to be interesting. By the way, I just want to say thank you to everybody for recommending all these German-spoken podcasts to me and making recommendations about ones I should check out. I wrote them down. I have a list, and I'm definitely going to be checking them out. So thank you so much. As I mentioned, I'm having a blast learning it. This week, not so much. I really haven't had a chance to listen to podcasts, but I will be definitely giving those a listen to at some point soon. So on top of Italian now. So I think Dennis knows a little bit more than I do. And I know the basics. I can say buongiorno and mangia and where did I pick that one up? Anyway, but so yeah, I'm really excited about that. We definitely need a vacation after everything that we've been through with this house. It's still not over yet, but for the most part, we can breathe. There are no leaks. There are no floods. Just little things that need to be touched up here and there. But for the most part, I think we're gold. We can actually just just relax a little bit. And but other than that, I'm trying to think what else is going on. Yeah, that is pretty much it for this week. Yeah. Kitty's doing all right. I know it's been a while since she made an appearance on the podcast, but she's being very antisocial today, or just lately, just antisocial. She's up on her perch on top of my yarn fortress. That's her new favorite spot to hang out. So yeah, but otherwise, all is copacetic, status quo. And that said, I will see you next week. Oh, but before I forget, you're probably wondering what the hell is going on in the background again, because there's been a little change. I shifted around my office again just because I wasn't liking the way it was set up before. I actually moved this desk over here. I turned that into my sewing table because it just makes sense. It's from IKEA. I don't think they make it anymore. It's from their Edland line. It's the same style as my yarn fortress. It has like the gray and antique-y look with white knobs and everything. So I thought it just made sense to turn into my sewing machine table. And of course I have to have the autumnal scented candles going, as one does. And then I have a new sewing friend. I haven't named her yet. She needs a name. So if any of you have any suggestions, it would be much obliged. Just leave a comment in the Ravelry thread and let me know what you think I should name her. Because I thought, since I'm getting into the whole sewing thing, it kind of makes sense for me to have a bust, just, to put stuff on and compare. She's exactly the same size measurements as I am, except maybe about 2 or 3 more inches in the bust area, but she's got the 20 size, I have a 26-inch waist and then 33-inch hips, and then I believe her bust size is a size 35, and I'm a 32, but when you wear a push-up bra, it all works out. So yeah, I was really excited to get that. I think it's the same one that Laura from the Dyer's Notebook has. I know she always has that in the background, but I thought it'd be cool, just to kind of like have some interest going on in the background and something to bring to trunk shows, to display my samples, and also use to use as a sewing tool. So she's a jack of all trades, if you will. Yeah. So anyway, looking for a name. If you have one, let me know. All right, guys, I am over and out. Happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye.